episode 3, I believe, of season 1. It's still January 21st, 2026. Current time now is 12:33 a.m. Happy Wednesday, of course. So let's continue. I'm still living with my mom at the time. I believe I have went and gotten the girls from Augusta, bought them back, and was trying to have them with me. And they had spent the day with Ernest. And I asked, hey, can they stay the night? Yeah, cool, that's fine. I'll just bring them in the morning. I'm like, all right, bet, cool. I ended up getting arrested that night, and I wasn't able to make it back in the morning. That was because I just didn't make it back that morning. I got arrested for giving false information. There is a little backstory to it. Now, I'm gonna just put that out there. As far as giving false information, so let's just say there was a name mix-up. But I thought I had a warrant. I thought that's what I thought. Okay, I got a speeding ticket. Headed down there to Thomasville, one of them back roads. I got like one of them little speeding tickets. I wasn't speeding though. That I can't confirm. I ain't got no reason to lie. For one, because we the only two people on the road. You're about a quarter mile down, and we the only two people on the road. I see you. You see me. I'm way ahead to slow down. Technically, I wasn't even speeding anyway, because them back roads, they still give you 45. I'm like, but still, I see you, been saw you, I've been slowed down. Now, if you're trying to clock me coming down the hill, I'm like, what, you want me to brake all the way? Anyway, the ticket, though, how I didn't end up following up with it because I had lost my wallet. Leaving it in that cart, coming out of the grocery store, tragic. So I wasn't able to follow up on it. But for some reason, I just thought that I had a warrant. I don't know. I don't know. That was just my justification for it. What wasn't really no justification because I didn't have no warrant. And I had figured that police officer had threw that ticket out because he knew I wasn't speeding. But anyway, you have court in the morning. I wake up, ring the bell. Excuse me, what time is court? Court starts at this such and such a time. There'll be somebody to come and get you when it's time. All right, cool. Lay back down, try not to doze off or whatever. Get back up. What time is it? It's this time, but ain't nobody came to get you and stuff like that. So you just got to wait for somebody to come and get you. Time still going by. Done rung the bell. Ma'am, ain't nobody came to get you yet. So, stop ringing the bell. Attitude. The day comes and go. No court. I'm like angry at this point. The following day comes. Court is here. And I go to the court. Judge is on the screen. She's going through everybody. And she calls my name. And Miss Miller, I don't know why you're here in my face. I gave you a SOR yesterday. Again, the building has just went up in flames. In my head, the building has went up in flames. A real arson. A real one. Only by the grace of God, I was able to make it to possessions to gather my things before they closed for the weekend or whatever, and obviously call my mom, see if she's home. Oh no, you not finna come here. You gonna have to find you somewhere else to stay. They said you got released last night, yesterday. Ma'am, I just got out, and I'm obviously gonna have to walk from here to your residence, and I only have flip-flops. Luckily, I had a little spliff down in the bottom in one of them side compartments or something to kind of ease the pain as I was walking, because that's not a easy trek in flip-flops. But nonetheless, make it to her residence, and come to find out, the girls have been taken back to Augusta again. Again. And is over it at her wit's end, I would say. And this was the beginning of her eviction process. Let's just put it that way. This was the beginning of her going to the courts and evicting me from sleeping on her floor. And so it was only until I went through her process that I realized, like the shadiness that happened with the leasing office prior. Because I'm like, even though they didn't necessarily have to come and like physically evict or remove me, but like the sheriff came, paperwork, I had to sign, I had to go down there, I had to respond, things of that such, it's like a real intricate and elaborate and detailed process. It's not just, sheriff showing up at your house and, oh yeah. And you go down to the court and you're like, well, why was I not notified? Oh, the paper's right here. We got it right here. It was sent back. And I'm thinking to I obviously, not going through the process, you don't know. But then you look back and you're like, sent back? That's not paperwork that's supposed to be sent in the mail, right? Like, isn't that supposed to... Anyway, I have forgiven myself for all of the mistakes that I have made in my past, and I've forgiven myself for any future mistakes that I obviously will make, because I'm only human. Will confirm is that if you ever see this, I'm just checking the time. But homelessness is typically has a lot to do with financial irresponsibility. And so that was a big one for me, to be quite honest. I had no idea that there is a percentage of the world who know how to live and operate without the use of cash. Let's just put it that way. There's select group of people in the world who understands the power of credit, and then there's a certain group of people who still believe that cash is how the world is operated off of, which you have to know what to do with the cash, not just use it solely, because it's all about financial literacy, money management. Those were the two main things that I did have to understand significantly, if you ask me. And so I found out I'm in court for two separate things, right? My mom, she's evicted me from her place. And then here's Ernest. He has decided to go to the courts and file for child support modification. I had took him off, and then I had put him back on when I got the girls. And now, since they're back with his parents, he's asking for the child support to stop, and he's asking for sole custody. And his reasoning is because he's alleging that I am creating adult content in front of the girls, which obviously don't make sense if they're with their parents. Number one, how am I making content if they're with their parents? And then people will forget that when they're, kind of in that pit of jealousy and envy and rage and, just spitefulness, that they'll forget how court works. Because you can't just write something on paper because you're in the heat of the moment. Court has a discovery phase where you have to provide evidence of your allegation. And so that'll come next year. Don't worry, we'll get to that. That might be part 8 or 9, maybe part 10. We don't know. But we'll get to that point of how that unfolded in God's perfect timing, always. And so now we have court for two separate things. And when I go to court for the child support modification and the full custody, I'm telling that's okay if they get full custody. I'm totally fine with that. They're down there, you know what I mean? Like, I'm homeless. She's about to get ready. She's trying to evict me out of her place. That's fine. Let them stay. Let them. That's fine. You can cut the child support off. That's totally fine. That's cool. And the judge was like, well, even though the kids are with your parents, you're still obligated to pay the child support. That's what the judge said. And so I'm not necessarily sure why he was so enraged about it. I'm like, well, she said it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm agreeing that it can be cut off if they're down there with your parents. I'm okay with that. She was like, no, you still need to. I'm like, oh, okay. So now he's mad. And the judge is like, don't go. Just let him leave. And you sit there for a few minutes and let them leave out and give them some minutes to ahead and stuff like that. And so, obviously he ended up getting in contact with child support and letting them know, hey, that they were down there during that time back in 2019 with his parents. And so they ended up cutting the child support off eventually. But then somehow his mom ended up with the child support, getting child support. And so it kind of threw me off because I'm like, why would she open up a case? Okay. And then she was getting TANF, and that whole TANF thing was such a scam. I couldn't believe it. But we'll get to that too. We'll get to that TANF, Lord. And so, lo and behold, went to court for my mom, eviction. day. And so I'm just trying to, goodness, now what? Now what? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Like, she's trying to evict me. I'm like, what now? And so I just remember sitting in the car with my cousin, and I had seen this chick walk by. And I had seen her in the neighborhood for a really long time. Being next door with my mom, I had saw this chick just in the neighborhood walking by, just a random chick. She looked like she was very familiar with a lot of people in the neighborhood and stuff like that. And so she was walking by, and I can't remember what I ended up saying to her, but I remember saying something to her to maybe get her attention or something. I'm not necessarily sure, but that was just kind of how we ended up meeting each other. And we just hit it off. And, I ended up telling her what was going on and stuff like that, just out of the naturalness of conversation, because we was chilling, we was talking. I think we ended up going to a bar or something, just was chilling, like on a real chill vibe or something. And so she was like, well, if your mom's kicking you out, you can come and sleep on the sofa at my house and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. And I had no reason to say no. I'm like, why not? So I took her up on her offer, and lo and behold, I ended up moving next door. Literally. Literally, I remember getting a storage unit and putting all of my things in the storage and just taking my little suitcase and walking next door to this girl's house. And so that was the beginning of the Abby